My girlfriend of 4 years has recently become obsessed with a male streamer and I feel really uncomfortable about it. This was a post made on the subreddit r/relationship advice around the end of 2020. What was particularly shocking here is that barely just a few days after making that
I saw the screenshot going around. That is crazy. Girl throws away a 4-year relationship for Sykkuno. Nani? This is like the guy that was... You remember when we watched that video of the guy that was dating ChatGPT 4 while he had a wife and a kid, and he basically was kind of hinting that if the wife required him to break up with ChatGPT 4, he would do it. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. No way! This was on Best of Redditor updates. I kind of want to read that thread.
post, he'd end up breaking up with his girlfriend. Her obsession with that streamer was that irrational. And during that time, she wasn't the only one who might have felt this way. That's because the male streamer in question here was none other than Sykkuno, a name and face that had...
I mean, it's like, okay, so I feel like people, they embellish these people, or even it could work for like ChatGPT 4. They have this idea that they're so much better than everything. They're perfect. Meanwhile, a real person, their boyfriend, somebody that they can see face to face, they have like their quirks. They have some defaults. Is that the word? Like they're not perfect human beings, but everything else, like a parasocial relationship, for example, is like 90% lime rants almost. It's like it's 90% in your head.
Become a core memory of the COVID-19 pandemic, more specifically when everyone was locked up in their homes. In the span of less than a year, he would go from having
flaws. Thank you. Yeah, flaws was the word.
1,000 average viewers on Twitch to 50,000, even having a stream where he peaked at over 100,000 concurrent viewers. What he'd be most known for was his gameplay of Among Us with his friends, who happened to be very big content creators as well.
Yeah.
Not only would he get tens of thousands of concurrent viewers on Twitch, but he would get millions upon millions of views on his YouTube channel as well. And while his rise to fame is definitely incredibly impressive, what was truly
he wasn't officially part of offline TV, but he was like adjacent and lived with them for a bit, I believe.
Paralleled here is his extremely high ratio of female viewers, confirmed to having been higher than any of his other content creator friends. His handsome look, his anime sounding voice, and his witty jokes made women go rabid. In fact, there was also a joke that he would turn male fans gay. But what made him really desirable is just how socially awkward he was. He was innocent in an endearing way. He was a boy failure that needed a woman to fix him. In a nutshell, he was this picture, almost allergic to other women. He just couldn't handle anything romantic. He would get too flustered. This made many of his fans want to be the one to finally fix him. But make no mistake here, this was all a perfect...
Oh my god, he's got the cat boy's ears. Oh my god, he's so quirky, y'all.
Crafted image that he had made for himself. He wanted you to think that he was innocent, naive, a boy failure, someone who's inexperienced in relationships and would never hurt a fly. Because in reality, behind this mirage, this illusion, there was a master manipulator, a serial cheater, and a predator. Someone who would make it a point for many years to target smaller content creators, take full advantage of the fact that he was one of the most desirable men in the streaming world, all while making it seem like he had no experience with women and that it just might be romantic. They just might be that special someone who can fix him. What he would somehow forget to tell them, though, is that he had been in a monogamous relationship since 2021. But you don't have to take my word for it, because he admits to everything in a recorded voice call with the victim herself. And on top of that, that same victim, who goes by the name of Hemamal VT, would choose to write a Google Doc that shows the entire timeline, her and Sykkuno's DMs together, as well as the DMs of another victim that actually slept with Sykkuno while being totally oblivious to the fact that he has been in a relationship since 2020.
Yikes.
This might be one of the most impactful and longest running lies in content creation history. I want to thank the two victims in question for trusting me with this very heavy topic and for allowing me to make the first comprehensive video on it. So without further ado, let's get right in.
Yeah, so Woojin got tipped off on the Google Doc, and he got to make his video very quickly.
To this mess.
He's got the scoop for it.
All right, so first off, who the hell is Sykkuno? Well, before starting his streaming career, he actually used to be a software engineer working in the Bay Area of California. His monotonous office life would change forever, though, when he would meet Lily Pichu, a well-known content creator who actually started making content as far back as 2012. However, when they met...
Didn't Lily Pichu was also involved with another guy adjacent to offline TV, and then it turns out that he was cheating on her with another girl that was in their friend circle? Is everybody in that group like fuckboys?
She was far from being the very well-known content creator that we know today. It was back during the Season 3 World Championship for League of Legends during the year of 2013, so barely a year into her content creator journey.
Dude, this was the good days of League of Legends esport. Esport was big back then.
Sykkuno would be aware of her content. He'd reach out to her and would want to meet her, seeing that they're both at the same place. Lily Pichu agreed, thinking, oh, am I about to meet a fan? That's awesome. She'd be absolutely shocked when that fan would show up with a massive bouquet of flowers. As she was about to thank him, he would run away back to his cousins. According to him, these were his only friends at the time. He was that lonely. He was simply too embarrassed to interact with her further. This interaction left a good impression on Lily Pichu, and they kept in touch for years to come. In fact, as she would start her streaming journey, she'd play with her friends, and one of those friends would be Sykkuno. Her viewers would start to express interest in him, especially seeing that his voice sounded like an anime character. There was genuine demand in her community to know what he looked like. What they didn't know, though, was that Lily Pichu had already shown him. He was there with her when she went to Summoners Con 2015, and he was right there with her in her vlog. But most of her community were simply not aware of this. So seeing that there was growing demand to see what he looked like, they decided to do a face reveal live on Lily Pichu's stream around the year of 2019.
Yeah.
The hairline, now we understand why he's got the emo haircut. You guys were asking about the haircut earlier. Now we got the answer.
You're such a... Oh, okay, here we go. Wait, you're actually so much braver than I thought.
Only because you're here.
Alright, I'm in the stream.
And as you can see, the chat was definitely not disappointed. In fact, Lily Pichu had such an impact on Sykkuno that she would be, well, the main reason why he would start streaming. And you can hear him say that himself.
So what convinced you to start streaming?
Lily, actually.
And speaking of streaming, he would start doing so shortly after revealing his face on Lily Pichu's stream. He'd start in the beginning of 2019 with barely under 100 viewers, but as the months would go by, he would start to get very rapid growth. He would really start putting in serious hours by...
Okay, this is crazy, but like, what if it was... I don't actually believe this, but what if this was all planned from the start, okay? And this is some kind of like Saltbird scenario where the guy like pretends he's all like shy, ooh, you know, comes from nothing, gets on with the popular people because they want to take him under their wing, and they don't think that he's what's the word? That he's like he's safe, you know? You mean it isn't? Oh, that's what's implied there? Well, dude, if that's actually what he did, he's like 5D chess. Like, then he almost deserves all of this. He played them all. I don't think people can plan things that much in advance unless they're a sociopath or a psychopath. Probably a genuinely awkward saw an opportunity and took it. Not Light from Death Note, but if he was Light from Death Note or like that freaky guy from Saltburn, then that would be crazy, chat. Hey, Noose. Hey, Rima. And yes, the soft uwu boys are almost always like this. The massive players behind the scene. Oh, girls need to stop falling for soft uwu boys.
August 2019, and within just 1 year, by August 2020, he'd be sitting at 8,000 average viewers, reaching a peak of 15,000. But how? Why? Well, during his streams, he would continue playing with Lily Pichu, and seeing that Lily Pichu has a lot of big content creators that she calls friends, she would introduce them to Sykkuno. It turned out that this guy was very easy to talk to. He was witty, he made jokes, and the communities of the many streamers actually enjoyed his company. All of these factors combined would be the perfect catalyst for when the quarantine season of COVID-19 would arrive. He would start to play the game Among Us with some of the biggest content creators on the planet, and within just 4 months, he would go from 8,000 average viewers all the way up to 50,000 average viewers, peaking at 100,000 viewers in 1
That is so much. I never understood the appeal of Among Us streams. I guess you really needed to be a fanboy of that clique.
Stream. He was gaining 500,000 followers every single month. In just the span of like a year and a half, he had gone from being a mid-tier streamer to one of the biggest on the entire platform. It wasn't just Twitch though. He would be getting millions upon millions of views on his YouTube videos as well. He was killing it on every single platform he was on.
We need to study these Among Us videos and see if he was good at being the imposter. And that would give us insight onto his personality.
And so by 2022, when YouTube was aggressively recruiting Twitch streamers to stream on their platforms instead, offering them multi-million-dollar deals, they targeted Sykkuno, seeing that he's extremely brand friendly, has a very loyal audience, and had become
Bro, that's what I'm saying. These guys are millionaires. They are swimming in money and clout. Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
a household name in such a short time. So on May 2nd, 2022, he would announce to the world that he was moving to YouTube on a 2-year exclusive contract. And as you can tell by the engagement, this post went viral. What I really want you to understand,
they don't really do the exclusive contracts. Like, dude, the contracts back then, like the exclusive contracts for Kick, these are not really gonna happen anymore. Unless you're like one of the select few very, very big creators. So yeah, no chance for Auntie Rima to retire anytime soon. But yeah, back then, the exclusivity contracts either for YouTube, Kick a little bit later, and Rumble and all of that were huge.
though, is just how valuable he was seen by companies and platforms. Back when YouTube was aggressively recruiting talents that were on Twitch and their confidence and hubris, seeing that they completely dominated the streaming scene at the time, would never bother offering a counteroffer. On the very rare occasion that they did, it was a very big deal, and guess what? They made an exception to Sykkuno. They gave him a counteroffer higher than YouTube. Sykkuno would go back to YouTube and show them Twitch's new offer, and YouTube would offer to pay even more. His contract alone.
What? He made them outbid each other. I mean, that's the way you're supposed to do it. No wonder he was good at roleplay. It's his second nature to deceive people, even his specialty. Oh my god.
Is estimated to be around $5 million. Sykkuno, though, also had interests in other communities, such as VTubers.
Like, his model really looks like Shoto's, no? Like the choker and the haircut. It's like, you know, anime MC protag.
In 2023, for an April Fool's joke, he would debut his first VTuber model, extending his reach to a new niche community. The reason why I'm mentioning
my god, the male VTuber allegations never end, y'all.
This is because at some point he was invited to a call with the Senator Bernie Sanders alongside Valkyrae and Pokimane. And instead of showing his face, he chose to be a VTuber.
Nice.
This was so ridiculous, and it went so viral that he inadvertently kind of became a spokesperson for VTubing in one stream. I mean,
yeah, he wasn't even really a real VTuber, but kind of a base choice to show up with his VTuber model there. That's funny. That's probably really good publicity, because that sparks way more discussion than just showing up with your face.
God, everyone wanted a piece of that guy. You would see him everywhere, collabing with everyone. And this was partly due to his very loyal and almost rabid fan base. But it was, of course, all by design.
I don't like his hair. I don't like the hair going on here. The way people treat K-pop idols, Pokimane claims Sykkuno has the highest female demographic fan base as compared to any other streamer. How does he do it, chat? How?
2023, Pokimane would make the very interesting revelation that Sykkuno had the highest female demographic fan base compared to any other streamer, her included. She would compare his level of fame and the way his fans acted towards him to K-pop idols. He simply wasn't seen like the run-of-the-mill Twitch streamer. No, there was definitely more to this. And one of the main reasons why this worked out so well is because he was seen as a boy failure. No, not the kind of guy who's unemployed and lives in a dump and smells like shit. I'm talking about the ideal boy failure. The guy who's handsome, smells nice, doesn't live in a dump, but is instead just a hopeless romantic.
Stop! That is not boy failure at all. Free shirt from a Comic-Con, cheap haircut, dark eye circle, 3 Red Bull in the morning, has 6-pack abs, wrist. Wrist? Why is there just a wrist tag? What's the wrist for? 6 figures, but too lazy to wear anything but sweatpants. Okay, so his bank account's huge. Yeah, that's the ideal boy failure. Nobody wants a real boy failure. Nah, that's a loser. Hey, child draws. They want the ideal boy failure. Having wrist is a must, yeah. Having wrist is a must. Yeah. Yeah.
Someone who turns all red when you want to initiate physical contact. The most innocent, naive soul imaginable. The appeal of a boy failure isn't necessarily that he's a failure. It's the fact that he's perfect, but just needs one person to fix him. And that's how a significant chunk of his fan base felt. If you've watched my channel before, then it's not too different from a girl failure that has a male audience that wants to fix her. It's the same parasocial mess. This can be very easily seen in some of the most viral fan-made videos of Sykkuno, like this one for example, sitting at over 3 million views. Sykkuno tells his trauma about girls.
Oh god.
Sykkuno trusts his friend, Disguised Toast, more than the girls. So this guy had barely any romantic experience, and yet still, he had his heart broken. He needs a woman that will fix him and tell him it'll be okay.
Play the
and
video.
Maybe she'll be one of his fans. If only he knew how handsome and amazingly desirable he was though. Because he's another fan-made video. Everyone's simping for Sykkuno because who doesn't? I mean, god, if only he wasn't a boy failure and understood how smooth he was with women, but he's too naive. Because guess what? This video sitting at over 4 million views is titled Sykkuno being smooth with girls for 14 minutes. Yeah, I think you get the point by now, right? This image
This is like Parrot. Fake incel. Stolen valor. This is stolen valor from the rest of us, chat.
of him that was so carefully crafted would attract a very large female audience. It would also allow him to be one of the only male streamers to constantly be able to hang out with a majoritarily female friend group without him or them getting in trouble with their fan bases due to jealousy. The guy was innocent, allergic to love, and he wouldn't hurt a single fly. This allowed him to do things that other male content creators could never do.
Who sent me this? We can fix you. I don't. We tried. Everybody keeps rejecting me.
Like, dude, this is him sniffing the armpit of Fuslie at some point during a podcast when they were talking about body odor. This is how much he was trusted around women. And even though his audience was very obsessed over him, they saw him as so awkward, so incapable of understanding what love or social cues mean that this was fine. They didn't mind because they were going to be the ones to fix him anyway. So it comes as no surprise that yes, some relationships literally ended over the girl's obsession over him. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if some gay relationships ended because of the same reason too. He was just that much of a sensation, and that crafted image he built around himself was just so believable and convincing.
I guess that's like the Corpse Husband fan base. They just love this voice. We're trying, but the mold. We said we wouldn't speak about this anymore. You know, I posted worse mold in the members only chat, but I decided to spare Twitter of those mold. Like those mold were too much to post on Twitter.
And so he'd keep on doing what he's always done, and after his 2-year contract with YouTube would finally end during May 2024, he would make his grand comeback to Twitch, peaking at over 26,000 viewers. However, his viewer count would slowly begin to drift. And by April 2026, he'd be sitting at 1,665 average viewers, a far cry from the peak of the pandemic back at 50,000. He'd also stop collabing with larger content creators as much as he used to, mostly sticking to himself. But hell, I mean, 1,600 average viewers is still very easy to make a living off of. He had made his millions of dollars, had this incredibly obsessive fan base. As far as content creator careers go,
TBH, if you have this kind of obsessive fan base, you could have less than 100 viewers and make a decent living.
Oh, this really wasn't so bad. The guy was a multimillionaire. What people weren't aware of, though, is that for many years since becoming a viral sensation, he would use his status as Sykkuno, as the most desirable streamer imaginable, as this K-pop idol, to pursue relationships with smaller or up-and-coming content creators, whether they be cosplayers or VTubers, manipulating them into thinking that they were special, all in the hopes of hooking up with them and while being in a monogamous relationship. This is the real Sykkuno.
Thank you, Navins.
We finally have proof. Hemamal VT, who I'll refer to as Mal from now on, is someone who has been making content for the last year. She occasionally streams from time to time, but also tends to post cosplays on her Twitter profile, some of them being revealing. Those revealing cosplays would catch Sykkuno's attention, and he'd follow her on Valentine's Day of 2026. Within barely a few days, he would
it's always the cosplayers. That's like Vox with his cosplayer girl.
Start talking about how they should move in together into the same house, all while having a girlfriend. When Mal would find out about the girlfriend, she would decide to write a Google.
Wonder how much was Insane Psycho fans are willing to donate to a streamer? Yo, a lot. A lot. Like that money that he was sending these girls, I bet he makes more than that in a single donation. The Fujo fan base is extremely passionate about their Uwu boys. Like Vox Akuma was not the one of the top super chatted streamers for no reason. They are feral. And I mean, good for them. Like if they want to, it's not just guys that simp for girls. Girls simp for guys too. We wanted some equality, we got it.
Document. The Google document would contain Mal's side of the story as well as Elfie Leah's side of the story. Another VTuber who, of course, also posts cosplays from time to time, which is why Sykkuno was interested in her to begin with. She also had no idea that Sykkuno had a girlfriend and would meet up with him during December 2025 in
I'm a girl who simps for girls? Well, I already like you. You should stick around. Yeah, despite his diminished viewer count, he's still a high earner for sure. I mean, he probably makes money from sponsors, like cons appearances, all of that. He's probably set for life already with those contract. That YouTube contract probably set him for life. Then after that, you just need a few investments and you're good to go.
Paris when he would travel for a convention.
Yeah, simping knows no gender.
Like Maldo, she would actually end up sleeping with Sykkuno, again, completely oblivious that he has a girlfriend. They would both share their stories and the DMs with Sykkuno in the Google document. This document would be 32 pages long, and it would detail both of their experiences with Sykkuno, leading up to the revelation of the fact that he has a girlfriend, as well as a link to the full 17-minute YouTube video in which Mal would confront Sykkuno about cheating on his girlfriend with her. Here's how it would start off. On Valentine's Day of this year, I was followed on Twitter by Sykkuno. I thought it was amazing that such a big content creator even knew I existed, let alone followed me on social media. He had been my role model and someone I looked up to for a long time, ever since my days in high school. However, what I learned about Sykkuno after that day would make me regret my decision. Sykkuno is not the kind, soft-spoken character you see on stream. He is a serial cheater, liar, and manipulator who uses his status to get what he wants from as many women as possible. More specifically, ones who are smaller or up-and-coming content creators, knowing that he can take advantage of them. After confiding in many others that have had similar experiences with Sykkuno, I realized that this was not an isolated incident. In fact, it was something that had been going on for multiple years. He always made sure to cover his tracks and never left a paper trail significant enough for someone to make this public. But now, this has all changed. These are serious allegations, and I fully understand that this should not be treated lightly. I urge all other content creators who have been personally affected by Sykkuno's behavior to not remain silent, as I believe that there is strength in numbers. This document will not only include proof from me, but from another victim who has given me her consent as well. Below, you will find evidence that will expose his calculated pattern of love bombing and manipulation, as well as a recording of a voice call where he explicitly admits to all his wrongdoings, everything. Alright, so already this is one hell of an intro to the document, right? One thing I want to point out is the urging of all other content creators who have been personally affected by Sykkuno to come out about this. As I had already mentioned, there are many people who were affected by his actions throughout the years. In fact, if Sykkuno traveled to any expo or convention or event, then you can bet a hefty sum of money that he always had someone there who he flew out, hoping that he could bring them to his hotel room. Anyway, the next section of the document would be titled, Our First Conversation. After Valentine's Day, I was so excited about him following me that I told a friend who then urged me to strike up a conversation. I finally worked up the courage to send him a DM and he replied right away. So here we can see on the 15th of February, Mal would send, "Are you still looking for a Valentine's date perhaps?" To which Sykkuno would say, so innocently, "What? You can't just open up with something like that? And besides, Valentine's Day's almost over where I'm from already." To which she would reply with, "I mean, we can always do a Valentine's Day do-over, you know?" In the same first conversation, he brought up what kind of games he'd like to play and invited me to play with him after a convention. On the left image, we can see them discussing sleep schedules, right? Understanding what time it is for her, what time it is for him. And on the right image, we can see him say, "What games do you like to play? I'm like a massive game player. That's usually how I meet people or make friends, to be honest." In the next couple of images, we can see
Yeah, the predator thing could be ground for defamation, but then they'd need to argue back and forth if it is how the public took it, etc. It's like kind of complicated. And then if there was malice involved, but yeah, it's I mean, according to the streams we watched on the Miskif Emiru situation, this is what I learned.
Kuno talk about the game he was playing, which was Outlast Trials, saying that maybe Mal could carry him. She would agree, give him her Discord, and then wonder, hey, are you done soon with your stream? Because I'm getting tired. She hadn't slept all night. She was pulling an all-nighter. He'd apologize for taking so long, and then he'd say that he has a convention to go to. So after making her wait for like a few hours, he would say, hey, listen, can we just play tomorrow? I have a convention to go to. And they would agree, okay, let's play after the convention. This is what would lead us to the next section. Interest in where I live. For context, this is still the same day as the first conversation, only moved to Discord and a few hours apart since I'm EU time zone and he's US time zone. So yeah, these DMs have the timestamp of 10 a.m. EU time.
Oh, Mal tweeted, to clarify, she meant to use his fame to prey on small female creators. Yeah, this is, oh, well then that tweet would play into it as well. Bao also retweeted that post, by the way. I just noticed that. Okay. For everyone confused, Predator isn't a pedo. He preys on small female VTubers and lies to them and gives them half-truths with the intention to have sexual interaction with them. English isn't my first language, so I thought I'd cleared that up. I wonder, I mean, I'm not sure, I'm not a lawyer, but if there is a lawsuit, you could pull that up, said, hey, I clarified it.
The last DMs we can see on Twitter were at 9 a.m., so this is barely an hour later after they added each other. Mal would continue by saying, things started out innocently enough with him inquiring about fun things to do near where I live, such as aquariums and conventions, TwitchCon EU specifically. I'd like to point out that I said we could go on a date to make up for Valentine's. He not once expressed to me any discomfort or that he wasn't single. So yeah, this is how it goes. If someone expresses interest in you, right, you typically tell them fairly quickly that you're already in a committed relationship. You don't just let things slide. Mal had no reason to think that Sykkuno was already taken. Otherwise, he would have said something after she proposed a date. He'd ask, did they have an aquarium? I'm a big fan of aquariums. She'd say, there's artists in Amsterdam, could make it a date, you know, to make up for Valentine's. He'd only reply with, a what? Lol? Continuing on with his innocent persona, but he'd never say, oh no, actually, wait, like, I want to meet up as friends. I'm actually in a relationship. Not once. The next section will be titled, Following My Private Instagram. He would also follow my personal private Instagram that is only available to my IRL friends and family while using his official Sykkuno account. So here we can see an image of Sykkuno following her with her personal account name being hidden since it's personal. The next section will be titled, Making Plans to Meet Me in Person. So bear in mind, this was the next day, okay, the 16th of February. They had started talking on the 15th, he followed her on the 14th. The document would say, in this 2-hour Discord gaming call, the same day as our first conversation, Sykkuno made plans to meet me IRL. It was set to be the same weekend as Dokumi 2026 since he was flying over anyway to attend TwitchCon EU. Going to the aquarium would be our first date. I also learned that there is a 15-year age gap between us. Right, so look, I personally spoke to the victim about this. I asked, like, would that usually have been like a red flag or a turnoff? She said yes. But the thing is, this is Sykkuno we're talking about here, right? So she made an exception because as you saw in the intro of this document, she used...
Well, that's the thing, right? Okay, I'm gonna be... It's like, when somebody's like really... It's like she's making all these exceptions. There's some red flags. She stayed up all night for him. Finally, he took a rain check. All of these, if you were interested with her, she would be willing to make these quote-unquote sacrifices. But now that she learned all the truth, suddenly all these sacrifices are just more resentment building up on her side. And suddenly all of these things that he used to do are like a bigger issue.
To watch him in high school. She genuinely looked up to him. To say that she was starstruck was an understatement, and that's exactly what he was counting on. Now, while keeping that 15-year age gap in mind, this next section definitely hits different. It's titled, Making Plans to Move In Together. These messages would be on the 17th of February.
It's kind of a Grand Canyon, yeah. But, I mean, it's still two consenting adults.
2 days after they started talking. It would say...
Yeah, she got disillusioned. Once the illusion fall, it's over.
Sykkuno, our relationship moved so incredibly fast it almost felt like a dream. It was like you could make anything I wanted happen. And as someone as prolific and successful as him, I had no...
And also I'll add that it's like, it's so easy to impress a 19-year-old. Like, I mean, especially if you're like a big streamer like him. Like, how much money do you even have at 19? You've got nothing at 19. You're like just starting out your life. Aren't you just like fresh out of college or some shit? She probably doesn't have a car. Like he'd, oh my god, you have a car? Or she probably doesn't own much. Yeah, teenagers are, sorry to say, dumb. She's still in college. Yeah. Oh, is she? I don't know. In like the United States, you're at 18, you're done with college, I think. Fresh out of high school? She's fresh out of high school. Yeah, that does make sense, Kristen. So, like, it was a bit of a red flag first. You make an exception, but now in hindsight, it seems like a factor of the pattern regret for not holding to the red flag warning. Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling. 18 is senior in high school. Oh. Our Canadian system is different. We're actually older once we get out of college. Because they make us do, like, this other fucking school. Just stupid. Yeah.
No reason to doubt anything he said to me. These screenshots show that Sykkuno and I were intending to adopt.
And yeah, like, dude, you have somebody sending you 200 euros out of the blue or 100 euros. You are like, holy shit, you're rich. That is so much money.
A cat and have me possibly move into his house. I told him we couldn't get a cat yet due to me not being a US citizen and possibly having visa issues. Keep in mind, this conversation happened 2 days after the first conversation. So in this first image of these set of DMs, we can see—
Wait. You guys, chat is saying you guys didn't have a PhD when you were 12? Well, lame. Chat, catch up. Hello? I'm joking.
them talking about pets in general, right? About how he might be allergic to certain pets, about how his current dog doesn't trigger his allergies. So they start discussing the prospect of getting a cat. Mal would say, I mean, if I'm there anyways, we'll have to think of a name, no? To which Sykkuno would say, yeah, but I don't know if I can take care of it myself. Mal would say, or were you just gonna name it Cat? He'd say, you'll have to stay to help take care of it, lol. To which she'd say, I'm okay with that, though I don't know how that would work with me staying there. I can't stay forever either, you know, because I'm not an American citizen and I'll also probably have to go back as well. Because I mean, I hope at least that I can go back to studying end of this year. And like in general, everything is so expensive. And then he'd say, oh yeah, that's true. Okay, maybe we can get a cat together another time then. Besides, don't you already have a cat? Which she'd say, yeah, but they're my dad's. Also, did you finally order the food? And he'd say, oh, I
Bye Ultra. That comment made me laugh.
see. So you wouldn't have to bring them if you just moved somewhere. To which she'd say, no, I guess not though. I'd miss them so much, so I definitely have to get new pets. So barely a couple days after speaking to each other, Sykkuno's out here discussing getting a pet together, taking care of it, raising it together, and looking into the possibility of her maybe moving in together with him one day. This was—
Dude, people read too much fiction, like 50 Shades of Grey, where it just like things move super fast, and for them it's like a fairy tale. But in hindsight, it's probably red flags if it's moving that fast, you know?
as he was sharing a home with his girlfriend. The next section
Yikes.
is titled Lying About Being Single and Dating History. In this screenshot, Sykkuno said he has only ever had one relationship his entire life. I would eventually find out that that was a lie and that he had been dating and living in the same house as his girlfriend for years and that I was not the only girl on the internet that he spoke to on a daily basis. So here we can see DMs of them discussing this topic. Mal would say, I mean, you've been in relationships before. It's not like it's your first relationship, referencing what they might potentially have going on. To which he'd reply with, I don't know, lol. I've only actually dated someone once and they broke up with me, so yeah, I think I'm just not very good, so it's probably just a me issue. To which he'd say, did you never do anything for your ex, at all? To which he'd say, I mean, I think I did. I don't think she thought I did, so yeah. But I mean, everyone has their own way of what they want, so it's important to be like, are you getting what you want? And if you're not, I totally understand. Mal, of course, would want to inquire as to what he was saying. What do you mean you think you did? Like what? But he'd never specify and he'd always keep it vague, keeping up this persona that he crafted, the one that was allergic to love, that had no idea what was going on with women. This would lead us right into the next section titled,
That's crazy that he told her he only had one relationship his entire life. You lie about small things like that, you're probably lying about so many other things, though.
sexting. We texted every single day, and these interactions would be charged with flirting and suggestive topics. I would send him suggestive pictures and audios, and he would confirm that he'd touch himself to them. Additionally, he'd always act flustered and inexperienced, keeping up the illusion of his on-screen innocent persona. We'd also regularly talk about date ideas and things we'd like to do together in the future when we'd meet up IRL. Topics that are usually discussed between two adults who are clearly romantically interested in each other. On top of texting, we also called almost every single day, even after he'd stream for over 8 hours. We'd talk and play games regularly. One thing I'd noticed is that every time we called and when he spoke, he'd be whispering and never fully use his voice. His excuse was that it's because he was tired after a long stream, and I didn't really find that to be suspicious. Using your voice for 8 hours in a row does exhaust it after all. I now realize that he was quiet because his girlfriend lived with him and he didn't want her to hear. So in this first set of DMs,
That's crazy, chat. I wish there was more screenshots backing that part up. Like, I believe it. That's not the issue. It's just I wanted to read it.
we can see them discussing.
Chat thinks that, like, she would have told her parents. There's no shot she would ever mention that to her parents. No shot.
Things to watch together. Sykkuno saying, let's watch something. Mal would say we should. He would say, let's watch a cooked Netflix dating show because those are funny, or both. And Mal would say we should. And do you also want to play games like Helldivers or Overwatch or etc.? In the next image, we can see them discussing the spicy audio that she sent him at some point. He'd say, you do too. She would say, yeah, like in that audio recording I sent you, to which she would act flustered over and say, huh? Oh my God. Well, yes, you really sounded cute in that too. To which she would say, did you ever re-listen to it or only that once? In the next screenshot, we can see them discussing going on a gym date. Mal expressed to him how much she enjoys going to work out at the gym, and so Sykkuno would inquire about what a gym date looks like. This is when they discuss it more. In the next two set of DMs,
I would not want to go on a gym date. Sounds awful. Well, first of all, I hate the gym. I hate the smell. It's full of bacteria, and you're all gonna be sweaty in there. And you gotta do reps. Yeah, Awa would like a gym date. He's a gym bro. Which one was his girlfriend again? His girlfriend is not in the doc. That's hot. You guys think that's fun? You guys would go on gym dates? Yeah, the smell of feet is so intense. Oh my God, the one time I went to a yoga class, I was like, the smell of feet is intense. Wait, Newsday's gym date sounds kind of hot. You're complaining about bacteria? Okay, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have said anything.
you can see them talking about more spicy topics. Mal would say, you get flustered so easily. And then Sykkuno would say, because I'm not. I've never done like this kind of thing before, lol. To which she would say, and? You don't like it? He'd continue saying, which is—
Yeah, there's not enough mold in the gym. Fuck you, chat. Well, my friend, or I don't know if it was a friend, but somebody that knew somebody that I knew said that they got a fungus at a gym. So yeah, take that, chat. I never got a fungus from my mold.
It's crazy because I'm older than you, but like I haven't really dated much, so. And then Mal would say, so? You have me now. He'd reply with, my XP bar is low, but no, I do it. I've never gotten something like this before. Yes, I like it. It's so good. I can't wait to use it later. As in, I can't wait to grill my sausage to it later, whatever she sent. To which she would reply with, you know, I've kind of wondered if you've ever touched yourself while watching what I send you. To which he'd say, what? Why would you wonder that? She'd say, well, because they're spicy pictures and videos. Of course, I wonder if you put them to use. And then he'd say, I'll definitely put this one to use. She'd say, so you've never done so before? And then he would say, maybe in all caps with a flustered sweating emoji. This is when she'd put her foot down and say, I want a yes or no. And then he would say, yes, of course I have. How could I not? Overall, these DMs
The XP bar is low is such a cringe line.
were a balance of spicy and wholesome, just like what you'd expect when two people are romantically interested in each other, saying goodnight to each other, inquiring on their health. He'd compliment her on her appearance. She'd say, I love getting compliments from you. Good morning, handsome. What are you up to? But this romantic interest wouldn't just be expressed with words. No, for Sykkuno, he'd make sure to express it financially too. This is what would lead us to the next section, titled Sugar Daddy. Less than a month later, Sykkuno would randomly ask for my PayPal account in DMs. He'd then waste no time in sending me money unprompted, something that I'd later realize was simply a behavioral pattern that he'd employ with women he'd express interest in. I want to reiterate that I have never asked him for his money, and he did this of his own volition. He bought me both a gym jacket, linked below, and Resident Evil 9, because I had expressed interest in that game. Here we can see two payments, the first one sent on the 28th of February 2026, 81 euros, and the second one being 200 euros on the 5th of March 2026. The sender was the business, Sykkuno. He'd innocently ask for a PayPal username on the 28th of February. He'd start off the conversation with, you still aren't asleep either? To which she'd say, I fell asleep, woke up again because I'm having trouble sleeping. He would then say, oh, well, good morning. And what's your PayPal so I can buy you games later? She'd say, huh? Straight to the point. Jesus, I need to update my email to my PayPal because it's my old name from before I rebranded. When he would send her money for a gym jacket, at some point she'd say, "Want me to send it back?" To which he'd say, "No, I wanted you to get a nice gym vest, lol. Especially because it seems like you're really passionate about working out, so I thought it'd be nice. And then you can remember me when you're wearing it." I thought it was a cute idea. She'd buy one, she'd wear it, she'd send it to him, and she'd say, "I wore it with the green set because I know how much you like green." She'd also make a tweet on her account while wearing it, saying, "This gym jacket is literally so comfy, the muscle mommy arc will be real." So up until this point, this was Mal's experience with Sykkuno. The next section is titled A Calculated Pattern of Love Bombing and Manipulation. And this is where we talk about Elphilia's side of the story. The document would say, after speaking to Elphilia a few days ago, we were able to corroborate our experiences with Sykkuno and learned that we were both victims of this. We had no idea that he was talking to both of us at the same time. Sykkuno is known to send hundreds of dollars to the girls he wants to get involved with. This screenshot is from when he took my friend Elphilia to Paris during the 2025 TFT tournament, along with sending her 500 euros to help her move into her new apartment. You can clearly see that this was sent from his business email's PayPal account. So unlike the other image that was supplied by Mal, here we can clearly see this is Sykkuno at hotmail.com sending her all this money. A substantial amount, around 1,550 euros, all under his business email. Here are the DMs in which we can see that he offered to pay for her flight to TFT Paris as well as all the food and hotel fees there, pretty much taking care of her financially during the entire trip. So this starts off as far back as April 2025, with Sykkuno telling Elphilia, "I'm probably going to Paris later this year for sure. I'm not sure on TwitchCon yet. I'm afraid I don't know enough people." He'd say, "You should come to Paris when I go to it. Is it close?" To which she'd say, "Paris is pretty easy to go to, yeah, since it's in the European Union." He'd say, "You better hang out then when I go there." She'd reply with, "I'll have to see because I know nothing and no one there and it's expensive." To which he would say, "I'll pay for it. Don't worry." She'd say, "Whoa, really? You do that?" And then he'd say, "Yeah, of course. And all the food." She'd of course be ecstatic about this and say, "You'd have to deal with my annoying ass though." And he would say, "But you gotta choose places to eat, like the restaurants." And she'd say, "Deal." One day later, he'd reiterate, "You're fine, you never have to pay for anything, don't worry, lol. How much is the flight usually from Netherlands to Paris and back?" Because she lived in the Netherlands at the time. "I think I'm going for like a TFT tournament or something like that." On the 10th of December 2025, we can see her saying, "I'm boarding now, see you soon," to which he would reply with, "See you soon, you have the hotel info, right?" Since they were going to share a room. This brings us to the next section titled Elphilia's Experience. Elphilia would talk to Sykkuno on and off for the span of 5 years. During that time, she had absolutely no idea that he had a girlfriend in the 5 years that she had known him, and on and off flirted with him. Anytime she would bring up the topic of his love life, he would give the response of playing too many games and not going out enough to meet women to date. So bear in mind, she knew him since like 2021, back when he was like the most desired man on the entirety of Twitch or the streaming space. And even with all that flirting, he never once mentioned the relationship he's been in since 2021. So this was in the beginning of his relationship as well. So in this next set of DMs, we can see Elphilia saying, "Also, I have a question for you. Why are you single? Like, how?"
No, Daniel, they aren't friends. They got to know each other after she gave him the scoop. That's why they're following each other on Twitter.
To which he'd say, "Huh? That's a crazy question, lol. I think it's a combination of like playing too many games." To which he'd say, "Why crazy? Why is it a crazy question? The guy was desired by anyone. Even after his viewership had fallen down a little bit, he could still DM anyone and get them to date him." It didn't make sense. The document would say, "Same calculated behavior."
Dude, this is what Aster wanted to be. Yeah, no problem, Daniel. This is what Aster wanted to be, man. This is his dream.
Behavior and patterns, using his nerdy gamer boy facade to lure women into a false narrative. In this next set of DMs, Elphilia would be saying, "You're cute. You're this sweet to all girls, or am I just lucky?" To which he'd say, "Wah, lol, only to the ones I think are cool." So as we can see, Elphilia is just starstruck. She can't believe this. She feels so lucky that Sykkuno, the guy who's desired by everyone, is giving her attention out of anyone else in the world. This is the effect he had on people, and he knew this. And just like with Mal, he would follow her personal Instagram with his official Sykkuno Instagram page. It's genuinely like a deja vu to what he did with Mal. Like, it's the same patterns. The guy had a playbook, and he knew how to put it to use. The document would continue. Here is proof that Sykkuno was in Paris for the TFT event around this time too, directly from his Twitter. So here you can see this was posted around the 13th of December 2025 when he was in Paris. In this first tweet on the left, we can see him taking an image of Lily Pichu, who was also there, as well as him retweeting one of TFT's tweets saying, "Ultimate bragging rights have been secured at the TFT Paris Open." This is them announcing that Sykkuno's team had won, confirming that he was indeed there. The next page of the document would show us a set of DMs between Sykkuno and Elphilia. The date would be the 3rd of March 2026. So this would be 3 months after they had met up and hooked up. And this would be as he was talking with Mal. He'd say, oh my god, I was playing World of Warcraft, I saw this player, it reminded me of you. That's because that player had a similar looking name. She'd say, oh, you got reminded of me? That's cute. To which he'd say, of course. Oh, I was gonna ask, were you planning on going to like Off-Kai or anything like that? That's a VTuber Expo, right? To which she would say, I wish, but unfortunately I can't. My rent is now 800 euros per month and I'm living fully off of my savings, so I canceled all my travels for the year. The document would say, to add even more salt to the wound, after Elphilia's Paris trip, and 2 weeks after he had started talking to me, saying things like how he wants to move in with me and such, he would message Elphilia asking her if she'll be at Off-Kai. This is proof that he'd be talking to more than one woman at the same time, planning a hookup for every event he went to. He was doing this while giving me the impression that he wanted something long-term, and all while also having a girlfriend since 2021. Elphilia and I weren't friends until I found out that he was cheating on his girlfriend. This is when we both got in contact with each other and shared our stories. She deserves the world. The section would end with both Sykkuno and Elphilia talking about random topics, and then at the end of this DM chain, we can see
So they clarified that they knew each other from before in the video, in the recording. So Mal has known Elphilia before, but they both didn't know that they were talking to Sykkuno.
Sykkuno saying, how was your day? To which she would reply with, awful. Spent the whole day crying. Crying right now. Why do some men cheat? I'll never understand. The document points out that this is ironic, seeing that Sykkuno is a cheater himself. So as you can see, when these two women spoke to each other and shared their stories, they were shocked. Shocked to know that they were being used so casually, and shocked to know that this man was in a relationship. But how is it that he did this for years with no consequences? How is it that there are many Elphilias and Mals out there with no one saying a thing? Well, they kind of did, which is what the next section is all about. It's titled Rumors and Broken Friendships. As I mentioned in the intro, no one made a public statement before because they never had sufficient evidence. Sykkuno would always talk about the most explicit and sensitive topics in voice calls or in person, never leaving a paper trail. This was all intentional. Rumors still managed to spread. Many content creators, both big and small, would vent to their friends about his behavior. Behind the scenes for many, he'd be known as a predator who regularly took advantage of smaller and or vulnerable content creators. The reason why Sykkuno would abruptly stop hanging out with certain people throughout the years is because of this predatory behavior. However, he'd managed to keep enough influential friends around him to legitimize his position in the space, especially seeing that many of those friends were women who would have normally stood in solidarity with any sort of victim, making it seem like he was safe enough to trust because they trusted him enough to be a friend. As Elphilia spoke with Sykkuno, she'd tell him about rumors that she had heard from someone else, about how Sykkuno had a roster of readily available women, and how they all coincidentally were smaller content creators who wouldn't dare touch him if something went wrong. Elphilia, of course, didn't believe this. After all, Sykkuno had a calculated pattern that worked perfectly in his favor. His innocent, naive demeanor wouldn't dare hurt a fly, so why would he hurt me? So here we can see DMs between Elphilia and
Wait, hold up. For me, I knew he was fake watching. I'm grind in GTA RP and treating his viewers snaps. He sends his viewers Snapchats? Is that what you're saying? That's crazy.
She would start this off with saying, I don't know, he said he dislikes you, referencing a friend of hers, and that you only go for girls that are small so you can manipulate them with your shy persona. Yet he is doing that to my friend right now. To which Sykkuno would say, oh yeah, I mean, I don't think that's true, but I guess people will say stuff randomly. I'm confused as to these people who think I'm going for them. I haven't really done that. But anyway, I'm sure it'll be fine. I mean, like I said before, people who know me will know me, and I guess he just dislikes me, which is totally fine. She'd say, exactly. He did say the only reason you haven't gotten called out is because you go after small creators and they'll never expose you. If you ever need proof of anything, I have receipts, just in case he tries anything funny. Sykkuno would say, oh, I feel like the
Oh, he would snap at his viewers about nothing, like he was short-tempered, is what you meant. Okay, thank you. Okay.
way VTubers are, they would love to try and expose bigger streamers. They love drama, lol. But it's not true, so I think it's fine. I don't need receipts or anything, it's fine. But I thought he was chill. I'm kind of sad he was so angry. Elphilia would say, I know, just making sure you stay safe no matter what, love. Sykkuno would continue saying, I mean, why is he bringing up so much anyway, though? To which she'd say, he's jealous of you. I'm just playing League with him, and he brought you up out of the blue. To which he'd say, I don't think there's much to be jealous of, lol. But hopefully he feels better soon. And Elphilia ends this by saying, he said you hurt 5 of his friends, apparently. So this was on the 22nd of December after they had met IRL. But no reason to doubt him, right? She still had no idea that he had a girlfriend since 2021. This is why she was still so readily siding with him. And speaking of cheating, this is what would lead us to the section Sykkuno's girlfriend. The coincidence that would lead me to finding out the truth about Sykkuno happened last week. A popular male VTuber tried to slide into my DMs to presumably get in my pants, and when I rejected him, he immediately started to mention nasty rumors about Bao. Out of concern for her, I reached out to a mod who then connected me with Bao. The three of us struck up a conversation when I mentioned I was nervous about a date I was going on. They asked me who it was. When I said my date was with Sykkuno, they immediately told me not to go on the date for my own personal safety. Bao told me that at the end of March, Sykkuno's girlfriend reached out to her regarding a controversial tweet Bao made last year in 2025. She asked Bao if it was true that the tweet was about Sykkuno. So this tweet in question, right, if you were on Twitter back in October 2025, you would have probably seen it. It went absolutely viral, and it simply just said, if you're an up-and-coming female content creator with a small but growing audience and a much larger and successful male content creator approaches you out of nowhere and showers you with attention on stream.
Oh, okay. We need to drew Sykkuno's VTuber model and draw models for Bao and Iron Mouse as well. Oh, whoa, okay. There's a connection. God. Yeah, Muujin is demon time. And Snuffy. Oh, that's what people were mentioning that on 4chan. He always came across as low-key cruel to me when playing games with others. That too much messing with other people and the ops. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. Wow.
Stream, in DMs, etc. Don't walk, run. To 99% of people, this was Bao giving smaller content creators very well needed advice. In reality though, this was a subtweet directly referencing Sykkuno's behavior. Because the document would continue, they called, as in Bao and Sykkuno's girlfriend, and Bao explained to her that other women had confided in her about similar experiences with him. She described a pattern of behavior where he targeted small female content creators and pressured them into having sex with him. Bao then offered to connect her with these other victims so they could share their experiences with her directly, as she felt it was important to hear them firsthand. This was all discussed during a Discord call. And so here we can see a
Bao coming in clutch.
DM sent by Sykkuno's girlfriend on March 24, 2026 to Bao saying, "Hey Bao, I'm sorry to bother you with this, but I heard something recently that was a bit concerning and I thought I would just come ask you about it. I heard that there was possibly an instance of Sykkuno trying to get VTuber girls up to his hotel room to drink with them, and that the tweet you made about being cautious of large male streamers showering you with gifts and attention was about him, in regards to him doing it to one of your friends?" You know, before we get back to the document, this actually reminds me of this one tweet that was posted on Twitter back in October 21st, 2025 during TwitchCon North America, where an innocent fan came across Sykkuno in the lobby of a hotel at 2 a.m. One can only wonder what he was doing there, but as you can see, rumors are very easy to spread once you spot someone in a hotel lobby at 2 a.m.
Oh, wait, but what was the date on the tweet? October 21, 2025. Alright, doesn't line up with any of the screenshots we got.
But as you can see, rumors are very easy to spread once you spot someone in a hotel lobby at 2 a.m. The document would continue. Bao told me that 3 days before I contacted her and her mod, Sykkuno and his girlfriend were trying to reconcile after Sykkuno somehow managed to convince her that it was all a huge misunderstanding. She had no clue that I, as well as many other girls, still existed in Sykkuno's romantic and sexual life. Bao and her mod would put me in a group chat with Sykkuno's girlfriend where I would share all the screenshots you see above. She was rightfully horrified and left the group chat because she couldn't stomach reading them. This is where we can see...
That's the saddest part. Like that she... Dude, she left the group chat because she couldn't stomach reading those screenshots.
DMs in the group chat from Sykkuno's girlfriend saying, "I've lived with him for over 2 years. We have been together since 2021. And on top of that, everything he's planning with you are things we have planned together and talk about and have done. I'm sorry." At this point, I wouldn't be able to imagine what I would feel if I was in Mal's shoes or anyone else's shoes that Sykkuno had taken advantage of. In fact, I mean, I can't imagine...
I thought about it and I thought that it was a master in vague posting. Oh my god, you guys are going to start making me argue. Okay, that tweet was her trying to give like a warning to people. Obviously, she couldn't name names, like as a pattern of behavior. And people got upset at it because they are so entrenched in the man versus woman culture war that all those culture war accounts started dogpiling because this is what they always do. If one of them shows up, then all of the others show up. First of all, and then the second, you know, the doubling down and stuff. Sure. Okay. The tweet may have been poorly worded because she didn't say men or women. Women can do that too, and she didn't specify. But anybody who knows Bao, who watches her, knows that she's not a misandrist. The rest of it was made up by the internet. And she got way more shit for that poorly worded tweet that people have got for losing sexual assault lawsuits. Like, and then people are like, oh, she should have just let it go. She's doubling down. She should have stopped talking about it. Guys, do you understand that the same group of people that went after me are hate watching her stream, foaming at the mouth the second she is saying anything, like just an offhand comment or just venting to her chat? Like, have you never felt like you were so much under pressure that you felt like venting? Do you guys remember me, for example, like a few weeks ago when I was feeling really down bad and I also made the mistake of like venting on stream? These people are ready to clip you that one singular moment where you look bad and blow it up on social media. Can you not have any compassion for that? Come on, chat. Come on. It's Twitter. Do not listen to them. You guys do not recognize these names. I do. I know they always do that.
Being his girlfriend, hearing these rumors about someone I lived with in the same home and finding out about it this way, even after he managed to convince me that him sleeping with someone back in December 2025 was a misunderstanding. It's horrifying. This would all lead us to the final section of this document.
Yeah, no, like, look, the internet isn't fair. It's all about optics. And what happened with Bao really taught me that. Dudes, do you not like, you guys, people only see like a little bit of the entire thing. They don't follow the entire situation. After that, didn't she have like, her brother got into an accident, her aunt ended up in the hospital, and those same people, do you know what they did? You know what they did? They went into her Discord server, they were spreading rumors and claiming that she was lying about this. That she was lying about something horrible that is happening. Who would lie about this? The fact that you even think that somebody would lie, that's your first thought, okay? That somebody would lie about something so horrible happening in your family. You are not a normal, regulated person. You are somebody who grew up in a very aggressive environment, probably, but you're not regulated and you do not belong in polite society, okay? Do not be swayed by these accounts. Bro, I saw a tweet go viral going after one of these VTubers. That person literally had essay allegations against them. And people believe that tweet. They have a laundry list of worse stuff they do than do a tweet that's a little too gendered and poorly worded. I'm sorry, I gotta defend Bao here. It's so silly. And I know I'm gonna get shit for it because people always do shit for it. Listen, never trust V-tweeters. Feeling down, Rima, not feeling down bad. Oh, did I say down bad? I do always feel down bad. Yeah, and the problem is that, sure, Bao shouldn't have spoken about it anymore, but not for this. I don't believe it for the same reason you guys believe it. You say she should have just let it go. She shouldn't have spoken about it anymore because they smelled weakness. And like sharks in fucking water, they smelled blood and they ate her alive. And they're still talking about it to this day. We live in a crazy world. But if you are somebody who grew up with like good people or surrounded by just one person that gave you hope or like an inkling of principle, you must see this for what it is. It was astroturfed by V-tweeters.
Titled To All of Sykkuno's Victims. Ever since Sykkuno's viral breakout during the pandemic lockdowns of 2020 when he played Among Us, he has always carefully curated every aspect of his behavior on stream and with friends. An innocent, romantically inexperienced boy failure who looks like an anime character and sounds like one too. This perfectly curated image would attract a large audience of women, with a lot of them openly professing how attracted they are to him. He soaked in the praise and never sought to limit the most extreme aspects.
She's gotta learn somehow. This makes me actually a bit more against her actions. But would you apply that same advice to yourself? Like if your roles were switched and the internet was dogpiling you, like okay, let's say compare the hate that Bao got to any other controversy. Do you think it was equal in terms of like hate and vitriol? It wasn't equal at all. I've seen people defend way worse behavior. No, you're fine, Mr. Mimetic. Insight is a nice thing, but at the time it looks different. And the last thing I would think about is that it's about a specific famous person. Sorry if I offend you. Even if it wasn't about a specific famous person, I don't see why somebody should look at this tweet and feel offended and feel like, oh my god, she's talking about my gender. Just because the tweet didn't say men and women, or, you know, obviously this could apply to so many things.
Of his community because it made him more desirable. He understood this and would use this curated image as well as his legitimacy in the content creation space thanks to his followers and famous friends to seek out any attractive cosplayers.
All of this was happening and she just decided to throw shade at all men. Dude, she wasn't throwing shade at all men. Like, Bao has a lot of male VTubers. Again, like, sorry, male VTubers, male friends. She's not a misandrist. She's just not. Like, if you watch her content, you would know that. It's like, people were you're just upset because she didn't name all of the exceptions. It was a subtweet about Sykkuno and other people like him. And there are a lot of people like these guys. Yeah, she was talking about the big content creators. And to be fair, like, this happens a lot more on the male side. I'm sure we can find some women who do this, but the majority is probably male. Because at the top of the streaming charts, it's mostly guys. Women have an easier barrier to entry, but the top ones are guys. They have a way higher ceiling. It's always been like that.
And or content creators that were small enough to be starstruck by his grand presence. It would work most of the time as he'd use the same calculated pattern that he used with me and Elphilia to lure them in and eventually fly them out to the next convention or event that he went to with the goal of hooking up. What these many women didn't know, though, is that he'd always lie about the fact that he's single. That behind the scenes, he had a neglected and depressed girlfriend that he'd been with since 2021 and who has lived with him since 2024 in the same house. I implore the many other victims to come out about their experiences with this predator. And I end this document with a recording of Sykkuno in which he admits to everything, especially with how he cheated on his girlfriend with my friend and was intending to do that with me as well. For context, this was shortly after I had messaged his girlfriend about his cheating. 30 minutes later, he would ask if I was free for a call. As his girlfriend was crying downstairs, he somehow chose to prioritize someone that he barely met 2 months ago. She's referring to herself. I pointed this out during the call. Here's the link. So the link isn't here right now, but obviously it will be by the time this video comes out. It's okay though, because I have the video. And if you're wondering why you should watch it here, well, it's because Sykkuno's voice is so damn low. I mean, the guy was whispering as if someone was after him with a gun. They could barely tell what he's saying. I actually bothered to add subtitles. This whole recording is 17 minutes long, and as the document stated, he pretty much admits to everything. Watch.
We watched this part earlier.
Thomas?
Hello.
So?
Well, pretty much know most of it.
Yeah? Like what?
Know what?
No, you can tell me.
Okay, well, wasn't very honest.
Oh?
About single.
About what? You have to speak up a little bit, your mic is cutting out.
Oh my god, here
Sorry.
comes the cringe.
About being single, and I just wanted to tell you how everything happened.
Uh-huh. You're still gonna have to speak up a little bit, by the way. You're still cutting out a lot.
Sorry, you know how I talk quietly.
Yeah, but you never talk this quietly.
I'm sad.
It's the actions of your... Well, it's the consequence of your own actions, I suppose.
I know.
Mm.
So basically, I was in a...
Miles kind of cooks him here. Now we have the constant decision, but we're talking about at the time we didn't. Okay, but even at the time, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Like, that's what I don't get. It really wasn't that big of a deal. People are mad because of her doubling down. Dude, are you guys mad at like any other creator when they double down on some controversies? Aren't you guys the first to preach never apologize, never apologize? What was she supposed to do? Apologize and they'd eat her up more. Double down, they eat her up anyway. In this day and age, in 2025, in 2026, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. Take it from me, you know, she shouldn't have spoken about it because negativity breeds negativity. She should have just let it drop. Sure, that's like the PR, that's like in the ideal scenario. But people are human and they make mistakes and they act out on emotions. And like, I'm sure you can find it in yourself to have some compassion for that. Because if the roles were reversed, you would want somebody to have compassion for it. You wouldn't want like thousands of people to dogpile you.
Very happy relationship.
Doesn't sound like it, but sure.
Well, let me finish.
Continue.
Very happy relationship a long time ago.
Long time ago. What, like 2021?
I don't know the exact time, honestly, but a long time ago. Then it got a lot less happy.
How so?
I don't fully know. She just stopped hanging out with me that much, and
Stop hanging out with you. She lives with you.
yeah, I mean,
You're gonna have to speak up. I can't hear a single sentence that comes.
Yeah, she did vague posts, and I know we hate vague posting, but listen, we've seen way worse vague posting. We've been through the whole "it's not my story to tell" over and over again. Like, this wasn't the worst of vague posting. We've seen the Ethan tweets. Like, we've seen worse vague posting.
So your mouth. You there?
yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'm just asking because you went quiet.
Anyway, so I was very, very happy.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, it wasn't so happy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly when, but like we stopped spending time together. We hadn't done anything together for years.
Or what? I couldn't hear that part.
I said we hadn't done anything together for like years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just very sad and alone. Didn't feel wanted at all.
Mm-hmm. So you slept with Elfie in Paris.
Yeah.
And then you flirted with me. And were telling me how you wanted me to come visit you in Vegas, and how you wanted to go on a date, and how you were serious about me, and how you really meant it, and how you wanted to go get a cat together.
Hey, Fuyuki VA, what's up?
Yes.
Yeah. Why? Why didn't you just break off the relationship then?
Because a combination of remembering how it was, some part of me hoping it would go back to that, and
Well, obviously it's not going to go back to that if you're actively cheating on her. It's only going to get worse. I think that's really on you, bud. And I know you're smarter than that.
I'm not.
I mean, for fuck's sake, you're a 34-year-old man. Yes, you are. Stop acting like you're a child.
Don't think that's what I'm acting like, but
I mean, you say you're not smarter than that, but you are. You're a 34-year-old man. You just chose to do it. You knew damn well in the back of your head that wasn't going to end up well.
yeah. But it's complicated.
It's really not. Cheating is just bad. She hasn't done anything to ask for it to be cheated on. It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, but she relied on me to take care of a lot of things. And I
Yeah, he looks very similar to Shoto here.
still cared about her.
Okay, that doesn't mean that you do that because you wanted to, not because she was like holding it against you or forcing you to.
No.
Exactly. So there's still no excuse for you to cheat on her.
Not saying there was one. Just explaining why it happened.
The only reason why it happened is because you just chose to do it. I don't know why you decided to lie to me, because you know damn fucking well that lying especially is like a big thing I do not tolerate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like after
I was fine.
they all got into a group chat together and exchanged like notes and screenshots.
About the Alfie thing, because I was like, okay, he didn't know me before that, right? But then I find out you've had a girlfriend this entire time. Do you realize how fucked up that is? Because not only were you... Because, sure, you didn't lead Alfie on. Alfie acknowledges that you didn't lead her on, right? Because I've talked to Alfie. I'm friends with her. I've been friends with her before I even met you.
Okay.
Like, she acknowledges that you didn't lead her on. You led me on, though. You did lead me on, though.
Yeah.
You gave me all these fancy-ass promises about, oh, we're gonna go on a date when you come visit here. What, so you could cheat on your girlfriend again? So you could sleep with me so you could cheat on your girlfriend again?
That wasn't...
What were you intending with that?
Well, I thought it was going to, be over.
But what?
Like, I thought that was gonna be the end of that.
The end of what?
I feel like I was way dumber at 19. Like, I don't know if I would have stood up for myself like this.
Previous relationship.
You were gonna break up with so you could date me, or what?
Well, like I said, it'd been a long time where, like, we hadn't spent time together, hadn't done anything in years.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I thought that was at some point be over.
What? I couldn't hear you.
I said, I thought that meant that was going to be like the end of it.
So you were already moving on before you even broke up with her? Were you intending to break up with her, or were you just waiting for her to break up with you?
No, I don't know. It's
So
just a really weird
I just
mix of like...
No, she's the one eating, for the person asking that in chat. She's like, she said she was doing breakfast.
I just want to understand this. So what was your intention with me? Like, where was I in this whole thing? Like, were you intending to date me after her? Like, were you intending to just ditch to go date me?
I mean, I guess for me, it felt like it was already... Oh.
But that's not what I asked. I'm talking about me.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
You were thinking to just ditch her and then date me. What, were you gonna do the same thing to me?
Yeah, she's having a whole mukbang while exposing him.
I'm sorry, but like, you're not really selling this whole relationship thing really well. If this is type of relationship you uphold.
It's fine. I'm not trying to sell it.
I can tell.
Just trying to explain what's going on.
Yeah. The thing is, if I never reached out to Bao, because I didn't even reach out to Bao about you, right? I reached out to Bao about because lied behind my back to a bunch of people, and I was not okay with that. And then started lying about Bao. That's when I reached out to Bao. I became friends with her roommate, and then I was talking with a little bit back and forth, and then you came up in the topic, and then she told me you had a girlfriend, and that your girlfriend has been venting to Bao this entire time. About how you gaslight her into staying. You make her feel bad anytime that she, like, wanted to leave because you cheated on her. And she knew that you cheated on her. She just didn't know who.
I don't get it, because it's like, he acts this entire time like he's quiet quitting. You know, like when you stop showing up for a relationship, so you're hoping the other person breaks up. But then why, when she find out and she did want to break up, why is he asking her to stay? Like, that's the part I don't understand.
Because you never told her that it was Alfie. You just told her that you cheated on her in Paris. I think. I don't know if you told her, but I knew she knew.
Yeah, I did tell him.
Why? Why go through all this trouble?
Because didn't know how to
I mean, for God's sake, if the only thing why you even stayed with her is because she relied on me for a lot of things, you can afford to take care of her for a little bit before she gets back onto her her feet. Like, at least don't put her through the trouble of like telling her like, oh, like I'm still gonna be with you, like telling her that you're still her boyfriend while actively cheating on her every single day.
Yeah, I mean you're right. I should have just
Some people saying it's about control. Some people are saying it's about comfort versus what's known, and control versus the unknown. Yeah, I guess these are all good theories. I gotta mute this.
said how I felt.
Like, you could have just deadass if the only thing that you were concerned about is the fact that she relied on you for things.
I think that just is. I know it sounds every time there's like a big thing happening. I don't know why we always have the ASMR voices. Twisty also had the baby ASMR voice, if you guys remember.
You could have just supported her until she got back onto her feet, so she could support herself.
Yeah, why is he talking so quiet? Your girlfriend already knows you cheated. You can talk louder. Is the instinct kicking in? He's always whispered with her. He doesn't know. Hey, Sarah.
You know?
And it wasn't just that.
Then what else?
Somehow hoping it would go back to how it used to be.
Well, as I already told you, cheating is not going to make it go back to how it used to be.
It's a lot easier to say that when
it's the truth. It's the harsh truth. Nothing is going to go back the same way that it was if you're going to cheat on someone actively.
Yeah.
The question is, how many more one more involved, and who are the victims? Could it be his former roommate with Valkyrie and Fuzle and Tina Kitten and Katamina? Jesus Christ, he knew so many women and so many popular streamers. My God. Could be anybody at this point.
Well,
I like that nobody thinks it's me. Thanks, chat. No way. There's no way. Luca did once say he looked up to Sykkuno. Oof. Oof.
that's why I'm going to change that.
You're going to change what?
That's it. Everything.
What do you mean that's it?
Just gonna change that.
You're going to stay with her?
You're right.
Because honest to God, I feel like the poor girl's been through enough. I don't think you should have to sit there and keep doing this to her. Because I was in a group chat with her while you were on stream. And this girl's absolutely f***ing distraught because of the shit that you've done to her.
Yeah, it's
the shit that you've put her through. Like, genuinely. Do you know how much that fucks someone up? Like, you already cheated on her once, and she decided to trust you still. She decided to stay with you, despite the fact that you already had cheated on her and admitted to it. And what do? You go onto Twitter and go find the next girl to flirt with. Like, if anything, honest to God, I'm not even mad at this point. I'm just disappointed. I'm really disappointed.
Wow. I don't know what this Sykkuno is, but it sounds like a pillock. Wait, what's a pillock? Is that an European term? Rizless Evenstar. Don't even start, Gerardo. I mean, I think he's mumbling because he's ashamed and embarrassed. I wonder if he's been confronted about this before. Oh, it's a British term. From his OTV friends, he was getting close with Arya back then. They went to dates, etc. But this were before he started dating Maddie. For other girls, he probably didn't lead them on. Okay.
Yep, that's fair.
Cause
controversial take: cheating is bad. Everybody clap. Yeah, controversial take. True. Hot take. Hot take. Cheating is bad.
She's been crying to Bao about it. Bao's been sitting there, like, comforting this girl, trying to tell her, hey, maybe you should leave him. Because this isn't okay. This really isn't okay. You're putting this girl through mental strain. Every single day. That you continue to be with her. While you're sitting there having fun playing with your friends. Be so honest right now, Thomas.
That silence was actually fucking long in the original audio. Like, really long.
So you think, and you might be right.
Yeah. Like, if it is money that she doesn't have, or if it's a job, or if it's family, or blah 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 blah.
I gave her a lot.
Yeah, well, there, exactly. Just help her back on her feet until she can support herself, and then just leave the girl alone. Because she deserves better than that. Because you cannot sit there and be like, I love her, but do all of this shit to her, and continue to let her stay in that situation.
Well,
He's getting
one part of
roasted.
that wasn't true.
What?
I mean, I think the feelings faded.
Well, then you should just let her go. Instead of just sitting her there, wasting her time.
Okay, well, anyway.
And also, why'd you get on a call with me when right now she's upset? I know she lives with you.
I already talked to her.
Yeah, you should
And
be
I
there
told
to...
her I'm going to talk to you first.
You should be there to comfort her. She's the one that you cheated on.
No, I'm going to be doing that. I just wanted to settle this first.
This is not settled.
Well, what's the point of this conversation, really? Like, they're just dragging this on. Why not just block each other at this point? Sarah, thank you so much for the Twitch sub. Bro was trying to be like Thomas the Tank Engine and run a train full of his hair. I don't know this reference.
beyond upset with you. Like, genuinely beyond upset with you.
I mean, that's fine. By settled, I mean, like,
Oh, the point of this talk is that he admits guilt for proof. Right. It's true that without this, the evidence would be kind of flimsy. Right. So, do you guys think she's trying to extract information from him?
that's it. Like,
What's it?
probably never talking again.
You and me?
Yes.
What? Why?
Is that not why?
This is the part that I think is weird.
What is why? I'm still upset with you, but you didn't cheat on me. You can still
What?
talk to me and be like, make up for your actions. Don't get me wrong, because I always am there for second chances. But I never will forgive you for cheating on her. That's.
Well, at least she says she will never forgive him for cheating on her, but like, I don't get... Okay, I get the purpose of this call. I take back what I said earlier. I get the purpose of this call. We got the recording. That was important. But what's the point of wanting to keep in touch with him after that? Why would you even want to be friend? Like, why would you not just close that door, leave it there, and it's like... Oh no, you didn't. She roasts him for leading her on, pretending that they have a future together, and then she's like, "Oh, but you didn't cheat on me. Like, we can talk about this. I always give second chances."
That's odd.
That's some insane risk from, like, what the fuck? How could you still want this after all of that?
There are a lot of girls that are upset with you, by the way, because Alfie's not the only one that has hit me up.
The E-boy is too
Yeah,
strong.
that sounds like you've heard things.
Yeah, and you lied to me a lot about that too. A lot. Because How big was the roster again?
I don't think I ever had one of those.
I mean, maybe not at the same time, but you sure do hop around.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't want to stay in contact with a person like that. Roster is crazy.
I suppose so.
Yeah. All I care about right now is that he's okay. Keep me updated on that.
I don't know if that's a possibility.
You can keep me updated on how she's doing. You can keep me updated on when she moves out, because I don't think she should be living with you anymore.
Why does she want to know that? By the way, he just collabed with a totally new VTuber 2 days ago and has been collabing with random small VTubers in the past few months, which we never seen on stream or interact with before at all. So this was still going on with other people. I mean, it seems like he's just surrounded by a lot of females. It's hard to know, you know, who he has tried to flirt with or not. It's probably more likely that it is with smaller content creators than large. I don't want to start like assuming things too much, but because that's dangerous or a slippery slope. But I'm sure there's more, and I'm curious to see what else will come out.
I don't think you need me to do that.
I mean, yeah, I care about her. Like,
Yeah, she can do that.
True. I'll just reach out to her then. But, yeah, no, just... Like... Go talk to her. She needs you right now.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it'd be better if you just heard that from the girlfriend rather than the guy who's been lying anyway. Like, why would you trust anything he says? Hey, Poohbox. Oh, Gwenman. Thank you. His roster is the Smash Ultimate character select screen. Yo, for real. My assumption is bait. If you try something again, he hasn't changed, but I don't really see why he'd try on hooking up with her again, though maybe alt is you can come clean chance roster. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, okay. Oh, bye.
Bye, Thomas.
Shortly after the call, the last thing Mal would ever say to Sykkuno would be, "I'm beyond disappointed in you." So look, according to Mal, there are countless other victims. It is completely up to them on whether they want to come out with their side of the story or not. For now though, we can confirm at least 2 different people that were completely misled by him as he cheated on his girlfriend so comfortably. In those 2 instances, we can see him also—
Yeah, that call felt like ages. I forgot we were watching a Muujin video.
using the same playbook, the same tactics, sending them money, making them feel special, following their personal Instagram, wanting to meet ASAP, to hook up, everything. And I think one thing that personally struck me was how only 30 minutes after his girlfriend found out about his cheating and probably confronted him, he chose to run upstairs and prioritize Mal, someone he met 2 months ago, all while his girlfriend was crying downstairs, gutted, heartbroken. There's a reason people say with great power comes great responsibility, because once you have this power that Sykkuno possessed, you can so easily take advantage of others. So as a content creator, you have a—
He's got the ultimate wrist power. So Sykkuno was the imposter all along. Oh, that he was.
very clear choice, and unfortunately, Sykkuno decided to be the worst person possible. I wish all the victims in this travesty the absolute best, and I also encourage them to speak out. When it rains, it pours. And right now, the first drop has hit the ground. Sykkuno and anyone else who seeks to take advantage of their position need to be held accountable. And for anyone who grew up watching him during quarantine, who looked up to him, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, ruining whatever ideal image you had of him in your head. In any case, if more victims decide to speak out, then I will most likely stream me reading all of them on my channel later on. For the time being though, please, if a larger content creator reaches out to you, even if you don't make content, please always be extremely skeptical and know that they probably don't see you as the most special person in the world. They've probably done this to many others already. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I really, really appreciate it. If you want a healthy alternative to an energy drink, then definitely use the code Mugen at GamerSubs for 10% off. And if you want exclusive content like high quality art and exclusive yapping videos, then definitely check out stacked.com. It's like Patreon, but better. I love you so much. Platonically. Come on, platonically. I'm not going to be like Sykkuno, and I'll see you in the next video whenever that is. Mwah.
Oh, that's the ref I got in the Thomas the Predator engine. Sykkuno just followed you. That's the train you were referencing earlier? His response video is going to make Turkey top seem inadequate. Stop! No, stop! No, stop! Not the WBC. I actually hope he's going to do a response video. That would be crazy. Or a response tweet. Well, I don't know if it's going to end his career. It's probably going to shatter his mental. Because that's, I mean, yeah, pretty exposing regardless. But at least if somebody else, you know, if he does that to other people, when they Google his name, like the Mugen video will come out, the Google Doc will come out. So it's going to be out there as a warning, and then maybe they can be a little bit more informed about jumping the gun with this person, right? Yeah. A lot of people are saying he might just take a break to improve his behavior.